We're live.
We are live. Surprise.
Unannounced.
Unannounced, but we've been hanging around this 2 o'clock time, I think, the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's been a lot of 2 o'clocks. But sometimes we schedule it and it shows up on the feed as coming up. And sometimes we do what we're doing today,
Well, and very often,
which is not that.
Yeah, the coming up ends up glitching anyway.
Yeah, that's happened twice in a row.
Yeah.
So why even bother
Yeah.
with it?
Well, a warm welcome to you. If you don't know us, we are...
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat beef and eggs and coffee.
I am JJ. I am a life coach, and I eat mostly meat.
And by meat, you mean tofu and Impossible Burgers?
Mostly meat. No, definitely not. A majority of my diet is beef, although I did go to Buffalo Wild Wings with my friend this week and had some chicken.
Oh,
Yeah.
and how was it?
It was actually good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because ever since we've been carnivore, chicken has become less and less satisfying.
I do agree with that. And I expected to feel dissatisfied. No, I think it would be unsatisfied.
So you went in with low expectations.
Well, I got their lunch special, which I can't remember. I feel like it was maybe 10 wings or something. And I was like, oh, I'll be hungry like an hour later. Like old Chinese food, right?
Yeah. Did you do the naked wings?
Uh-huh. Well, I did naked, but I did get salt and vinegar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The salt and vinegar
Rub?
rub. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty naked.
It's fairly naked. But I was not hungry an hour later. It actually held me pretty well. So.
Well, they're supposedly deep fried in tallow.
Yes. Yep.
So compliant, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Carnivore compliant.
It was a good choice. Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. The Buffalo Wild Wings was at a large mall in the area, and we walked around the mall, and it was just we were just goofy, not embarrassingly.
I wasn't
goofy.
there, so I didn't get to witness this
No,
goofiness.
it was
Like high school girl at the mall.
a little
goofy.
bit,
Really?
yeah, a little bit.
That's funny.
Yeah, and I got this much Christmas shopping done, so that was nice too.
I've been doing my Christmas shopping on Amazon and a couple other e-tailers. I love that way of doing it. The only thing that would be better is not having to do it at all.
Just because you don't like shopping, though.
I
not
don't
'cause
like
you
it,
don't
no.
like gifting, right?
The problem is I'm a perfectionist when it comes to gift giving. And so if I don't have the gift that is so perfect and life-changing and also personal and specific,
Yeah.
I feel like I've failed. And that's a very high standard considering I don't really want to get to know people well enough to be able to figure that out about them.
Well,
But with you, it's impossible to buy for because you already have everything you could possibly need.
that's what I say about him too. So, yeah, I think there comes a point in the modern era of Amazon
Yeah.
where most of us just get what we want when we want it. And so I don't think this is just us.
Well, this is a good segue to let you know about something we're not going to talk about today.
We aren't.
But we have recorded an epic over 2-hour video for Thanksgiving. And part of it will be our carnivore/keto Christmas gift giving guide suggestion list. And it was fun to do.
It really was. And we tell some stories about it, things. And yeah, it was fun.
So look for it a week from this Thursday, a long video where you can hang out and spend some hours on Thanksgiving listening to or watching your favorite carnivores. And then you can watch us.
Yep. Well, I started preparations today for Thanksgiving as far as Fakesgiving. So we have Thanksgiving with my family this weekend, which I don't know how long maybe the last 6 years or so we've been doing Fakesgiving where it's not Thanksgiving food and it doesn't happen on Thanksgiving. So that's why I call it Fakesgiving. So I've got some chuck chili up in the crock pot.
Oh yeah, I can smell it.
Yep.
It smells great.
I know. I had to warn him. It's not for today. It's for tomorrow. But I think I mentioned in other videos, I'm doing sort of a Mexican taco type bar so that people can do whatever they want. It's going to have some chicken, some beef, some veggies, and some tortillas. You can make a tortilla, you can make some nachos, or you can just skip all that stuff altogether, eat some meat.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to do ketovore, you can have some meat with a little bit of cheese, maybe a little sprinkling of lettuce, so totally customizable.
A dash of salsa.
A dash of salsa. Yep. My mom is making homemade salsa, she said.
Oh, I was expecting a jar.
So was I. So yeah, she's in charge of chips.
Well,
and salsa.
it's still completely toxic and terrible for you, but I guess it's less bad.
It's not processed.
Yeah, right. It's not processed and it doesn't have mystery crap in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll just have the obvious crap in it.
That reminds me, I was at the store today shopping for this, and very interesting to me, there was a no pesticides used lettuce brand that I've never seen before.
Was it completely wilted and covered with bug holes?
It was not. And this was very interesting to me as well. In the tortilla aisle, there was several gluten-free options, many carb-conscious options, corn, and then the normal flour tortillas were relegated to the lower two shelves, and that was it. So,
well, I mean, that's progress. All we need to do is eventually just have none ever.
right. And I'm, I'm not saying that's good, because we know those gluten-free and the carb counter are all crap too. But I just thought, boy, we are seeing a change in the consciousness around
true.
food.
People are
by
moving
those two
from
things.
Especially the carb conscious idea. At least it's kind of breaking through the old myths of having low fat, and now we're more low carb.
Yeah. Yeah.
But none of it still should be eaten by humans.
That is very true, which is why you don't have to eat them tomorrow.
That's right. I can just scoop up meat and eat that.
You may think this is wrong. I did not buy any flour tortillas at all.
No, that's right.
Okay. I did buy tortillas, but I didn't buy any
family.
For family. Yeah.
What are they made out of? Cardboard?
I have corn, and I do have a gluten-free option,
okay.
But I decided I didn't even want the gluten in my kitchen tomorrow. So they're going to have to just eat whatever they want.
Yeah, well, it makes sense.
What we've got.
Hey, you're making the food.
Yeah.
They can't complain, right?
They're lucky they're getting tortillas and vegetables. I even bought some black beans. I know.
Don't you know about lectins?
I'm sorry, Dr. Georgia Eade. I'm sorry.
Well, it's one of those things we have to navigate, and we do want them to come back again next year.
Yeah.
And they definitely won't if we okay, here's your ground beef in a bowl. There's salt over there. If you need it. I mean, you really shouldn't have to salt it.
Well, and my mom has been vegetarian for years. She has, I guess, last I heard, started eating a little bit of meat. But so yeah, she definitely, I don't think a bowl of ground beef with some salt would really work for her.
Well, the one good thing about the Fakesgiving coming up that I'm enjoying is that there's no group chat.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm not involved in group chats. I think the only one I'm in has her and my daughter in it. But I've recently been privy to a group chat because of an upcoming event that is being used to coordinate. And what I found is it's used like a discussion forum or something.
I don't know.
And so I had to mute it.
I was tempted to mute it.
And part of the problem is that a lot of the members of the group chat are just phone numbers. I don't know who they are.
Well, that's true.
So, but I knew that was a thing that people participate in. They have their different friend groups and they have different, but I have never experienced that. So Now I have, and I don't want any part of it.
Well, it's so funny because we were entered into the group chat, I don't know, a month ago or some weeks ago. And it was pretty silent. And now it's blowing up today. There was one little change in the time. The time of the event was moved to 15 minutes later. And all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's funny.
It is funny.
It's very funny.
Yep.
So let us know where you're from. If you're carnivore, how long you've been carnivore. If we know you, we've seen your name before. You can just repeat old information. We'd love to see it.
And sometimes we just don't remember. It's more like, oh yeah.
That's right. So
now you're from here.
I'm from here.
You are from Wisconsin.
I'm from
Southeastern
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin,
Yes.
born and raised.
Yep. My whole life, I haven't moved, but 10 miles from where I was born.
That's true.
Probably not even that far from where I was actually born. The hospital is just probably a few miles up the road.
It is, yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. Part of me thinks that's a success, and another part thinks that's a failure.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I was born in Florida, Jacksonville, because my dad was in the Navy during the Vietnam War, but I was brought here when I was, I think, 2 years old. So I've pretty much been raised here in this area as well, and I feel the same way. I always had that, I got to get out of here. But then I lived in Minneapolis for a school year, and I don't really.
But here we are.
Here we are. Yeah, I didn't end up moving.
It is cold and gray in November. It is very Wisconsin-y, and I'm here for it, except for it's kind of depressing.
Winter arrived 48 hours ago. It was so funny. For Thanksgiving, we're doing porch pots. Which are those pots with evergreen and stuff. And so what is today? Friday, Wednesday morning, beautiful morning, sunny, nice temperature. I don't remember what it was, but it was nice. And I was like, okay, today's the day I'm going to go collect all the foliage, the evergreen boughs and everything for this thing. Cause we were going to get some weather and I didn't want them to be soaked. Right. So I'm like, okay, but I had to finish. We did our recording. That's what we did Wednesday morning. We did our Thanksgiving recording for YouTube. And by the time we got out there, it was full-fledged ice balls in the face, gray, wind whipping us. It was winter.
Yeah, it was bad.
And then yesterday we had some snow and it did land on the ground. It's gone by now, but yeah, so winter has arrived here.
And you turn the heat on down here and it's blazing hot and I can't stand it anymore.
Our daughter's coming home from college and she would always complain how cold you kept the other house, especially at night. So I wanted to figure out how the thermostat worked. And boy, did I figure out how it worked.
So our most recent video was about coffee. If you've seen it, let us know and what you thought of it. It's another one of these mystery videos where the fundamental statistics are good, but YouTube refuses to show it to anybody. So while people who did watch it tend to watch a lot of it, YouTube is hiding it. And that's just the name of the game sometimes.
Yep.
But we did talk about my issues with coffee and bubbling anxiety. But it's a good watch because we're pretty straightforward and honest about it and trying to troubleshoot things. Mm-hmm. But I was going to ask the viewers if you are consuming coffee or tea or other plant-based drinks on your carnivore diet or not. Because I'm curious.
I didn't drink coffee until I was moving into the proper human diet and I started to crave it. So it's just been in the last couple of years. I drink cold brew, pretty weak cold brew. But I fasted yesterday and it was just a straight water fast. I usually have a cold brew or some iced tea, but I had just water yesterday and didn't even think about it. It just happened. I didn't want anything else. So, yeah. But today I did have some iced tea.
So you're drinking plant juice.
I am drinking plant juice.
That's not compliant.
I know. But, well, this isn't a but. It's just, I could stop drinking plant juice at any time. I enjoy it, but I have no issues with skipping the caffeine or anything. There's no caffeine addiction there, at least.
Well, that's good for you. Doesn't help me at all.
No. A matter of fact, I have like my cold brew's third calf. Not even half calf. It's third calf.
All right. So I think we've pretty much covered it.
That's it. We're going. No. This leads me into actually something I wanted to mention today. And it was based on one of Dr. Boz's most recent videos this week, where she talks about Ozempic. GLP period, like different types and all this stuff. I'm not a doctor and I don't take it, so I don't know the details. But her big point on it is she's kind of all for it because of she's been working in addiction recovery for ages. And so she sees it as a really huge benefit for people who do have food addictions and any other type of addictions. So she talked about using it in conjunction with a ketogenic diet. I mean, she's not sure about long-term use, but when she's seen people step away from their addictions because they're on this type of medication that sort of rewires the brain, she's kind of all for it. And I think I heard Dr. Berry recently talk about the concept of using an Ozempic or some other GLP to get started on carnivore. And then just to move into that way of eating.
Because it suppresses appetite?
It suppresses appetite, but also just for the mental game of it. The whole food addiction in the mind.
Because it reduces the craving for sugary, addictive foods. I see.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw there was a study that showed that people who use it tend to lose a lot of muscle mass, and they lose heart muscle mass, which I guess is bad for heart strength. I didn't read it. I just saw posts about it, and I thought, well, that doesn't sound optimal for the long term.
No.
But I have no philosophical issue with it as an interim, especially as something to transition into a different diet or way of eating. But the appetite suppression, I would think, would make it in some ways harder to be carnivore. Because if you're not hungry, the last thing you want to eat is a steak.
Yeah.
Or fat, because you're not hungry. Mm-hmm. What you want to eat when you're not hungry is sweets.
Things that go down easy.
Yeah. Or that provide a dopamine rush of emotional response.
And actually that is she really gets into the whole dopamine thing in that talk. So I thought it was interesting. And I do have a lot of people in my life who, not you, but who have had various addictions. And so, yeah, she thinks it's going to actually be off label for that pretty quickly. And then we're going to see that side of it gain a lot of popularity and probably then become on label. But yeah, so I just thought it was an interesting way to look at it. Like you said, I'm not fundamentally against it, yet I do think that it would be I wouldn't like to see someone on it long term. I don't want to see them losing their muscle mass. And I would like to see them nourishing themselves with real food in conjunction with it. So I don't think it's
right, because if you were using the drug and the only thing you were eating was McDonald's burgers, Doritos, and Coke, you probably wouldn't be in the best physical shape in the long run.
Right.
Because you still need to have proper nutrition.
Right. And the changes that I have seen with my mental health, mental clarity, energy, muscle definition, just let
Did you
fewer.
say muscle definition?
I did.
Let's see your. Oh, you've got a sweater on. We can't see your guns.
I'll have to strip down here.
There we go. Let's see it.
Hold on. I gotta
Oh, wow. You've got even better definition. Look at that.
look at that. Never had this in my life.
54. No, 53 and almost 54.
Yeah, I'm
53 and a half.
53. But
54.
when he has his birthday, we both just automatically think I'm the same age. So he's had his birthday, and so now I'm 54 too. 54 minus 5 months, I think.
I'll have to use our double bicep pose as our thumbnail.
Ooh. But so I fully believe that isn't just a result of losing weight. It's a result of nourishing my body in the way it was intended to be nourished. And the other eating plans we've done have never resulted in me just feeling good. There's always been low energy or just starving. Basically hungry, starving all the time.
Well, like after our daughter was born, you did Weight Watchers.
I did.
To lose the weight gain, baby weight.
Yes.
And you did it very successfully. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't say that you were Energizer Bunny level energetic at your lowest weight.
No.
After that.
No, not at all.
Or that your mood was especially good.
No, as a matter of fact, those were the dark days. That was my 30s. And so I had started to experience hormonal issues prior to having my daughter, right around the age of 30. And then that whole decade, I was extremely fatigued, bad hormonal issues, and just, I like to say low life force. Like it was really, I wasn't diagnosed with depression, but there was nothing going on physically or mentally. I was like, why bother? And I wasn't ready to take myself out, but that was kind of going through my head. Do you remember
what you don't have to tell us what it was, what your weight was at that time? At your peak success with Weight Watchers.
I think I got close. I think I was about this weight, but I did not stay there for that long. And yes, there are, I didn't stick to the diet for one, right? I didn't continue a calorie deficit forever. But I also realized in my 30s that when I had I would have sometimes an extremely fast weight gain, like 10 pounds in a few weeks. And so inflammation, hormonal issues, et cetera, were at play there as well. So,
well, I mean, the point that I was kind of getting to was, the body composition and the hormone support were totally different.
That's true.
From one diet to the next, because many will argue that it's calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
And it is such a stupid thing to say. It is so obviously dumb. Because your metabolism and all of the biochemical reactions and responses to diet that happen are subject to the quality of the nutrition that you put into the system. So if you're doing a big weight loss on calorie restriction, and Weight Watchers was that because it was points, didn't care whether it was a fat point or a carb point or a protein point, right? And you weren't eating massive quantities of fat or protein on that diet.
Absolutely not, because those were dinged. Those were high points.
And so the hormonal response you would have to that diet is totally different than it would be to a high-fat carnivore or keto diet. And to ignore that fact is to be deliberately, belligerently stupid.
But we fell for it.
I say that with love.
Because
all those calories in, calories out people mean well. They certainly don't have a moral superiority, and they certainly don't have any sort of idea that they're super intelligent and you're dumb. They're not like that at all. Mm-hmm. They're sweet. They're giving. They're generous. They care. But they have this kind of blind spot.
Yeah.
And it's irritating.
Well, and my 30s, that whole illness and my 30s were sort of a blessing to me now, because I went to a naturopath right when I was 39, about to turn 40, and learned about the whole hormonal cascade. And so from that point on, I didn't have this model of, eating meat in my head yet at all. But I knew that my weight was dependent on hormonal health, and I didn't know how to get there, but I didn't tend to fall for other weight loss schemes that didn't support hormonal health.
For instance, trying to work out faster than you could eat.
Right.
That was my
Right.
strategy.
Yeah.
And my strategy was, if I was going to have treats, I had to earn them with self-flagellation on the treadmill.
Yep.
Which it works a little bit, but in the long run, I would end up injured and extremely exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's crazy
Yeah.
that it took so long to wind through all of these different eating and exercise and supplements and juice cleanses
Yeah.
to try to get to some semblance of health.
And I did all those things with you
Yeah.
to try them out, but I didn't dive into a lot of those things because I knew they weren't sustainable for me. I knew it needed to be something that was kind of hormonally easy.
Christ is King, Carrollton, Texas, carnivore for 2.5 years.
Just a little ahead of us.
And I believe their comment on my coffee video was, coffee is full of chemicals and caffeine is terrible for you, which is probably true.
Mm-hmm.
That was very direct. Thank you for that. I'm still drinking it. Aurora in Alaska. Hi, Eric and JJ. Eric, I enjoyed watching your sprinting and chopping wood video. I am 54 years old and I'm also changing my perspective on aging. That video got a very nice response. And I'm very grateful for that because I spent a lot of time making it.
Yeah, you did. It was good.
Well, what are there things in Alaska that you're doing differently or that are new that are as part of your strategy for changing your perspective on aging? I'd be curious to hear about that.
Gina Cav.
Allulose is good for that. Do you know what that is?
Yes, this is in regards to Dr. Boz, and the allulose helps with the whole craving GLP type thing. I don't know the science again, but I have seen videos on this as well.
Right, but allulose does actually have calories.
Yeah,
Some
I think so.
small little fragment of calorie to it. Not that the calorie matters.
Dr. Boz does not talk about allulose. Dr. Ben Bickman loves.
He's a pro allulose.
Yes.
I had heard about it some years ago when Dr. Attia was advocating for it, but it was hard to find at the time, but I think now it's very readily available. And you've made some things sweetened with allulose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we are going to do something, that is the sweetener of choice for us at this point.
But it takes a lot of it.
It does. It's less sweet than sugar. And so I know when people do carnivore, or let me not say carnivore for this, when people are keto and they've been off sweeteners, allulose is great because it's not that sweet. But we haven't lost a taste for sweet, I don't think. So we end up having to use a lot of allulose. But it's been a while since hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I use it I do a Dr. Kiltz, I do an ice cream mashup every now and then with using Dr. Kiltz's recipe and Maria Emmerich's recipe. And I kind of created my own, and that I use allulose for.
This is about GLP-1 inhibitors. Most will use it and still eat the same junk food diet. There's a reason they need to use it in the first place. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
And that would be because the prescriber, if they're using it for weight loss, the prescriber, that's kind of malpractice because you need to encourage the diet habit change. not just here's your prescription, keep eating the same thing.
Yeah.
That's my view.
Yeah. I heard, I don't know when we had the radio on. Yeah. A radio. I think it was just in passing, like we were switching into our Bluetooth or something. And I feel like we were in the truck and there was a radio add-on for some place where you could get that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That there would be clinics specializing in GLP-1 prescriptions.
Yeah.
I think of them as subscriptions.
Well, yeah.
I think of all drugs as subscriptions these days.
But again, I think it's good to, sort of look at these things as a tool, a possible tool.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to all medicines. I've had some that have been very useful for me. Gina says Tony Hampton made a video regarding coffee. Have a look. I'll have to search for that.
Yeah. I think we'll cross paths with him at some point because he's in the Chicago area, so he tends to come to Midwest meetups.
He comes to see Carrie.
And yeah.
So what else is going on in our world of carnivore and diet and stuff? You have been continuing to fast 2 days a week almost?
Yes, I've been trying to do 2 days a week.
Thursdays and Sundays?
Yes. This last Sunday was our, what was it? Cast party. That's it. I should talk about the show for half a second too. It was our cast party, so I did not fast that day. I did eat. But I had chicken wings then too.
Instead of pizza.
Yeah. And it was kind of I was going back and forth. It was a social thing. And so I did do the social thing.
But the fasting is going well.
But the fasting is going pretty well. My mood is great. Like when I started fasting again, it had been maybe a month or so since I'd fasted. And the longer I'm away from fasting, the harder it is to get back on the horse and fast again. It's like, I don't want to. Even though I have good associations with it. Like I don't suffer. It's good. So when I jumped back on, I was like, I think through this holiday season, twice a week, I was noticing some mood stuff. This isn't the bad mood, like the moving mood. That was horrible. But yeah, I was like, I think it's time to try twice a week. And overall, it's going pretty well. Yeah.
Is it causing you to lose more weight?
No, I'm maintaining.
So you're able to refeed enough.
I'm being very conscious of refeeding. Yeah. I don't want to necessarily lose more weight. I'm at 126 right now, 126, 127. If the body drops, I think I probably could do 5 more pounds. I don't know. It's hard to say because I'm just going by my high school weight. Like when I graduated high school / early college, I remember being 118. I remember being 122. But I'm not willing to sacrifice muscle. And I think I'm pretty happy where I am.
Yeah. So, I think that if you dropped weight and you were losing muscle, it would not be a good trade.
Right.
It would be a ridiculous trade.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the same mode. I did 1 day of fasting with you when you first restarted this.
Yeah, you did.
And it was hard, but it was good. But I have not wanted to do it again. And your sleep is not good on those nights that you fast.
So my sleep is not good on a fasting night. But what I've noticed is my sleep hasn't been good, period. It's just not been good. I feel tired at bedtime and then I wake up, like I'll start to doze and then I wake up and the mind is going. It's going big time. So, and then sometimes I have another wake up in the middle of the night. So but I feel really good for the most part. So
well, you do stitch together a lot of hours of sleep.
I was going to say I do sleep in then. Like I'm not getting up till after 8 when I have a night like that. And I know. And so I'm stitching together some sleep, but I feel pretty good. And then That'll happen for several days, and then I'll just have a night where I sleep like the dead, and I sleep for like 9 hours straight. Um, I'm not too concerned because I feel okay, and I have had insomnia in the past where I'm dragging myself through life. So this is not the experience I'm having. Maybe I'm just really needing less sleep at this moment. I don't know. I don't know. I got up and worked the other night till 3 a.m. It was just,
Well, there was one point last night. I woke up after an hour of sleep because that's what I'm doing now. I don't know why. And you were on the floor with your computer.
yes. Well, it's hard to type in bed with my iPad. So I just sat down on the floor, put my red filter on the screen, and
Yeah, it was very strange.
I was discussing something. I was discussing some life coaching stuff with Chat GPT.
So I had to read my Kindle at that point because I had woken up from a nightmare with my heart pounding.
Oh.
But that's just, comes in cycles. I don't even remember what it was about. I think I was being chased or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty typical. My subconscious is always ginning up some problem. And then I've been eating ribeyes
Yeah.
and getting them downed. So I was kind of a New York strip guy, and because I'd gotten a little sick of the ribeye flavor, but I have to admit the ribeye's got a little more fat in it,
Yeah.
which I do think is more, has better satiety profile. But I really need to have cooked egg yolks with my steak to really make the bites delicious. And so that's what I've been doing for most of my meals.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I was picking up dinner at the grocery store today. So I was picking up I got some strip steaks and some ribeyes. But the butcher was there putting the meat out, and there wasn't a lot of selection. So I'm like, oh, do you have more of these ribeyes here? And he's like, oh, we've got some over there. He's like, but we've got some here without the bone. So he was trying to steer me with the strip steak and the ribeye. They had bone in. And he was kind of twice suggested that I maybe wanted the one without the bone. So I just thought that was interesting. Like,
Was it a scam or what?
no, I don't know.
Maybe he just thought you didn't know how to cook it?
I don't know.
Or maybe he thought you didn't want to pay for the useless bone?
But they're cheaper with the bone. That sort of makes
Okay.
up for it. But the ones with the bones had more fat. Like, they looked good.
Did you say, I want the fattiest possible ones?
I didn't. I should have. He always thinks of what I should have said. But yeah, I said, no, this one looks great. But I didn't say I want the fattiest ones. I see you're taking a drink. I should keep talking about the butcher or something while you do that. Have you been watching any carnivore videos lately or no?
No, I've been reading.
You have.
I've been reading novels and writing a novel. And that's pretty much been trying to not be as online and stay off of X.
Mm.
I'm not successful. I mean, I'm always every once in a while checking in, but I'm just trying to stay away from those inputs that are irritating to me. And the stuff I have watched on YouTube has been non-carnivore related recently.
Okay.
So don't have much to report on that.
I've been watching a lot. I have watched some carnivore videos, but I've been watching a lot of organizing videos too. Just because
Trying to get the house put together.
Continuing to bring things over and unpack and put the house together in a sensible sort of way. And so, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that.
So for those who may have joined us late, because I have no idea who's actually here right now, we recorded a 2+ hour video that will be coming out Thanksgiving next Thursday. And it will feature a pretty relaxed holiday gift giving guide where we look at a bunch of different sort of carnivore related things. And then we do some carnivore trivia. And she mentioned this weird porch pot Christmas holiday decoration thing. And I'll have some imagery of collecting the materials and the assembly of that as part of our little holiday vibe.
Yeah,
video.
You were out there with me with the ice balls hitting our faces.
Yeah, it just suddenly was winter out of nowhere. But the whole point of it is it'll be a long thing you can put on the background, or you can sit down and enjoy it after you're stuffed with food, or maybe in the morning while you're preparing stuff. We can be there to keep you company. So I'm looking forward to getting that edited. I have quite a bit to do on that. And we will be showing up on your feed on Tuesday with another video that we have not yet shot.
Mm-hmm.
So next week it will be Tuesday and Thursday, and we will not be doing a live on Friday. Black Friday, we will be going Christmas tree shopping, as is our tradition in our family.
Yeah, it's interesting this year with Thanksgiving being so late. Our tree should be faring pretty well through the entire month because it's going to be a week younger than it normally is.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I've got a lot of Christmas shopping done already.
Have you ever gone Black Friday shopping?
Yes.
Yeah.
But maybe once.
Yeah.
That was what, my thing was when I was younger, and my family of origin used to hold a Christmas with my mom and dad and siblings and extended family. And that gift exchange was everybody for everybody. So there was a lot of gifts that had to be bought. And the reason it was done that way is because that's what my mom decided. And so that's what happened. And I didn't like shopping, but so I would put it off until Christmas Eve.
I remember when you used to shop Christmas
And
Eve.
then I would go to the mall with my list of all of the people I had to buy for, and I would power walk from place to place to place to place and buy random items. And then I'd take them home and wrap them and whip them under the tree, and they would open them and I'd go, oh yeah, that's what I already forgot what it was.
And you would intentionally do a cruddy wrap job.
Yes, because I thought that people should know what they're getting into. So when they open a gift for me, they know it's for me because it was wrapped like, maybe a blind chimp with only one arm might have been able to accomplish. Not pretty. But I've already talked about it on a video we haven't released, that my motor skills have never been very good. So that fine motor control, not my strength. So I don't enjoy it.
No. Well, the grocery store was madness today.
Why?
Because we're leading into Thanksgiving week, I guess.
So people are having pre-Thanksgivings this weekend.
Or doing their Thanksgiving shopping this weekend. I don't know, but it was.
There's got to be some sports ball on this weekend too, because I know sports ball is big this time of year. We have a question here. What are good carnivore potluck foods?
Ooh. No. I have considered this many, many times. It's just not at the forefront of my mind. But a charcuterie type board is good. Deviled eggs can be, if you can make them pretty clean. And what else have we done?
Well, it's hard. You can do a keto potluck much easier because then you can put some veggies and seasoning into it. Like your chuck chili would be a great one.
That is a great potluck.
But that's got tomatoes in it.
It does. I did brisket. Remember when the feeder group came over this summer?
Yep.
And it wasn't brisket. It was a brisket style chuck roast. So it's low, slow cooked, smoked chuck roast. That went over pretty
good. And that was
good.
shredded, all shredded up.
Yep. That went over very well.
But you have to have some seasoning skills to make it a standalone food.
But it's going to a potluck.
Right.
So, yeah. But yes, it does need to be seasoned pretty well if anyone's going to eat it. And viewers, chime in because like I said, I'm so focused on Thanksgiving right now. I've done this mental exercise in the past, but it's just, I'm a blank right now. We've also done sandwich trays, which is deli meat, so that's not great. And I'll just eat a meat tube. My famous meat tubes.
What's the recipe for a meat tube?
It is take a hunk of lunch meat. If you eat cheese, put some cheese on it and roll it up.
And then eat it.
And then eat it.
It's really kind of sad.
Oh, I think some other people have done meatballs of various varieties as well. I've heard. You could do a sort of a carnivore meatball. Again, it's not going to have a sauce on it. My stepmother, I visited her this summer, and she made this meat. She was talking about this meatball recipe that's made, I think, with grape jelly. I don't know.
That doesn't sound good even on.
But I can't remember
Non-carnivore.
what else was in it because I was kind of watching it. I couldn't eat it anyway because number one, carnivore. Number two, gluten. And these were like frozen meatballs. But yeah, I'd never heard of that.
But she can't have carbs, but she can have sweets.
Yeah, she's a little confused about that. A little confused.
So if you have enjoyed our video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, go ahead, give it a thumbs down. It's good for us too. And if you're watching this on the replay, you can answer any of our questions that we've asked during this in the comments. So because we will keep checking those.
One time we did the lunch meat tray this summer, and you made the
Keto flatbread.
cottage, which is dairy.
Yep, cottage cheese and an egg.
Yeah, and so yeah, it is carnivore, but it is dairy. But the kids ended up liking
That's
the
right.
cottage cheese
They
bread.
shouldn't have touched it because it was mine. But then they had a little piece of it and they're like, hey, this is really tasty. And I said, yeah, I know.
Leave my bread alone.
That was going to be part of my sandwich. The famous Friends episode where Ross goes off on somebody who ate his leftover Thanksgiving Day sandwich. But yeah, it is delicious. You put everything bagel seasoning in it and it tastes awesome.
Yep.
And I thought of actually making some of that for tomorrow's
Yes.
wrap, but I wouldn't put the bagel seasoning in it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do it.
No, I also have egg life wrap.
I'm just not going to eat it.
You're gonna eat.
Well, I didn't say not eat. I'm not going to eat it.
Oh yeah. I like egg life wraps.
I've never had one.
But I don't think
I
you.
don't like the name.
I'm philosophically opposed to the name. But I think I've considered making like pinwheels with those too. Yeah. But I've never done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much run out of topics,
All right.
unless you're thinking up something else.
Nope, I don't think I've.
It's almost, it's 2:48 p.m. Central Time, so it's getting dark out. So that day's pretty much over
Well, and I do have some more cooking,
for tomorrow. Yeah.
pre-cooking, and I also have to get some of the porch pot stuff.
And we have
ready.
to have lunch.
And we have to have lunch.
What are we having?
Bone in, either ribeye or strip steak, whichever you want.
Shocker.
But that's what we have in the fridge.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and look for a new video from us Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.